Wow, 100 subs. Before I get into what I'm going to talk about today, I just want to thank everybody for the 100 subs because it means a lot to me. I managed to surpass the amount that my older channel does, which is around 28. That was the peak. It was peak 28, and it's 23 subscribers now on my old channel. And, I just want to thank everybody for, subscribing and, getting into my content. And, I didn't want to do anything too crazy for the 100 subscribers special. I just want to give a little bit of an explanation in terms of my past and what I've been doing and as to why I started this channel in the first place. So, we'll be getting into that right now. So, my old channel, I guess I gotta say, well, it existed for the reason that I wanted to make money. I wanted to make money off of the channel, and I really wanted to, make funny content, just wanted to make something that everybody would typically enjoy and watch a lot of it. But the problem is, in the beginning of it, it was like, I was more of like a How to Basic clone, basically. Inspired by How to Basic, and the name was inspired by We Teach You How To. So, I kind of was like a little bit of both. And I tried to copy the voice of Alan Tutorial, who I also watched at the time. Really bad mixture when you think about it, honestly. And so when you watch those videos, just like, oh God, what the fuck was he thinking? And trust me, I think the exact same thing. But, that was part of my old house. That's where I was able to kind of go outside and pretty much do a lot of things during the summer. Not so much during the winter, but during the summer, it was a big sandbox playground for me out there to just do whatever, Eventually, when I did have to move, I couldn't make those videos anymore because in the place that I live in now, there's not so much big space anymore. There's less privacy since the place that we live in is a little more secluded to like one floor because we live in like an apartment complex now. So I couldn't make that kind of content anymore. So I knew things had to change. So I started doing more animations and, started something that it is not the magnum opus. Like, I don't know what's the opposite of magnum opus, but that is exactly what it is. And it used to be called The Interview Show at the beginning, but at some point I changed it to The Show Where I Talk Shit and Get Revenue for It, even though that's not true. And I was making no money, honestly. I was just kind of doing it for the views. And then eventually I changed it to The Show Where I Talk Shit. It was basically like an Eric Andre copycat, but like there's no guests. There's the humor is not there. I was 12 and 13 when I made it, so there was just like, it was boring, Eventually when I started editing them, they weren't much better. I still did not know the idea of a YouTube to MP3, so everything was kind of recorded off of my phone from the Nintendo Switch, the only console I had at the time. I kept making those, kept making animations. Eventually, I made... Eventually, I decided, because at some point during this time, I was like listening to lots of Boards of Canada, and when I made it to the end of their discography, I was like, wow, it's been years since they released their music, and I'm starting to run out of things to listen because every time I'm pressing shuffle play, nothing different is there. And there was only like a few couple songs by different artists that had to sound like Boards of Canada. Like, my taste of music was very niche. Like, it had to sound like Boards of Canada, otherwise I was not going to listen to it. And it's kind of, really bad, very different now since the past 4 years, but, trust me, it was super niche. So that's why H2D2 was created. The name is kind of like a really messed up abbreviation of how to do random stuff. I just thought it looked cooler since it had two number 2s in it and 2 letters in it. Very short 4-letter name that I want people to remember, I think I'm doing a way better job of giving H2D2 a better name than I did when I first made him. But, I started making songs, and I made my very first release, Cat's Memoir, in July 2019. Now, that particular release, I made every single song and I finished it within 2 hours, including the cover too. I wanted to release it, and I thought by releasing it out to the public, everybody was going to listen to it, you know? And looking back on it, it's not very good, you know, obviously. But I already have like a review on it on my old channel. You know, I guess I'll put a link to all the videos I mentioned in the description so people can go and watch it themselves and look at the comments and whatnot. All the music that was made in 2019, basically all the music that was made during my time on How to Do Random Stuff was, it was all made from pre-made assets. Like, BandLab would give you these loops and sounds, and I would basically take those and sometimes mishmash them together, and they wouldn't sound very good half of the time. And some of them would sound good, but remember, I didn't make any of the sounds. I only arranged them together. That's way different now, you know? The covers were dog shit back in the day because I never really... I didn't even have the genuine, like, idea of what Photoshop was. Like, I understood, like, you can use it to manipulate photos and whatnot and make, like, cool things, but I did not know how to use it. Nor did I really want to know how to use it. I was just kind of making them on MS Paint, hoping that they would look good enough to release, but obviously that's not true. They looked really bad. So during that time period, around late summer 2019, I also made gaming videos. I started making those, and quite honestly, those weren't very good either. The editing was very primitive, simple cuts, but they were just like really long videos where I had to really try to keep the audience entertained. I feel like I can entertain the audience now with gameplay videos, but I don't know. I feel like JRD is not the place for gameplay videos. You know, I feel like that's what I have to make a whole different channel for, but that's only if people want that, you know? For the time being, I'm going to stick to music. Then, a little after that, when I started high school, I started a series called Zach Refuses to Give Ramos $20. It's where I use this little character named Zach, who's existed for a very long time, and basically Ramos is kind of chasing him around to give him $20. They get into some really big fights, and eventually, you know, the ending is just like kind of ridiculous, but, you know, I try to make it very somber as possible, but it's purposefully bad, you know? I didn't put too much effort into any of the videos, and it was just for the purpose of it trying to be funny, you know? You know, but I'll kind of explain Zach right now, because I think a lot of people are very confused as to who the little green cat character is. And basically, he's a character I made all the way back in 2014, and he was based off a character that I saw on Amazing World of Gumball. Not really a character, more like a very demented version of Gumball. It's like when he's filled with jealousy, he turns green and he becomes like this mean, really like outrageous kind of character, and it kind of inspired me to make Zach. Eventually, he kind of stemmed off into his very own character, and, you know, he's kind of who he is today. You know, he was part of the how to do random stuff kind of idea, and I guess he worked for the time being since my friends kind of already knew him. But on JRD, of course, I guess he's not really getting much attention because they don't know who he is. But essentially, he's kind of an exaggerated representation of who I am. You know, my personal life. He reflects like what I do in my personal life and what my personality is. You know, and that continued for a while until eventually the last couple months of How to Do Random Stuff. The videos started to get crappier. You know, I was getting more desperate for views, constantly commenting and just being very negative. Eventually in 2020, I lost a lot of my friends. Like, they didn't die, but they ghosted me, you know? They were moving on, and I was extremely sad. I wanted to keep in touch with them, but, you know, as of now, not really. I've made more friends, and I'm a little more recluse now, but, you know, it's been a while since I talked to some of them, you know? But that made my passion absolutely diminish. I started just really getting really negative and really sad, and at some point, October 2020, I quit the channel. I was done with it. And the first couple days were just so draining. During that time period where I was sad and we were still in online school, I decided, you know what, I like this Caretaker stuff. I want to see. Well, I was listening to Caretaker at the time, right? And I was listening to some of his albums, and I enjoyed the sound of them. And I was like, you know, what if I just I want to upload a little video where I just kind of I make a little dumb little video where, what if I take this particular song from this album and I make it into Ever at the End of Time, and I make it slowly degrade into madness, you know? I want to see what I can do with that. And eventually I posted that video. I put the link on the subreddit, and my video blew up like no other. You know, I made a new channel and everything, and I was branding it, and I was like, you know, this is giving me some inspiration, and I decided to want to make more videos. Eventually, I made my second video, which is just a music video of a Boards of Canada song. You know, I didn't get too many views, but the rise in views of that video really gave me the inspiration to continue doing content on JRD, which eventually I would start making my own music, and, you know, it really, you know, I felt more happy with this channel than I've ever felt with How to Do Random Stuff. How to Do Random Stuff always was kind of linked to the past, and obviously when things are kind of reminds you of the past that you want to kind of forget, you kind of you get really sad looking at it. And, you know, there's not much of a future for that channel. You know, at some point it could be rebranded, but for the time being, it's just going to stay the way it is. You know, if for those people who want to know why it's called JRD, it is my initials. The way you pronounce it is like my initials, J, R, and D, because my name is Jelani Ruben Diaz, you know? So those are my initials, and that's kind of you know, I put a little spin on it. Chef Boyardee, I was like JRD. I was like, you know what, I'm going to do that before somebody takes that idea. Nobody else in this world is called Jelani Ruben Diaz. It's just me. I better take that opportunity while I still can, and here I am. As for new projects, as to what's coming on, I have a couple of things on my mind. Some of the things are shelved, but I want to let you guys know that I am still making a crap ton of music, you know? I had a Vaporwave project I was working on that I might pick up again soon if I have the time. I have another H2D2 EP. I'm thinking of doing an album, but that one I want to put more effort into an album, because I'm not going to just shit out an album and have it be crappy and stuff. No, I'm not going to let that happen. And I also have another idea, which is H2D2 Unused Songs compilation. What it's going to be is that it's going to be kind of a compilation album with a bunch of tracks that never made it to dedication, that didn't make it, that singles that didn't make the cut for my channel, and stuff that didn't make the cut for Journey to the Sanctuary either. All those songs will be put onto the compilation album. And I also plan to make more Zach the Cat videos. I want to give him a home on this channel. You know, some people may not like it, and that's fine. You know, I just want to post more of his stuff on there and show that he's a character that a lot of people can love. I just want to thank everybody yet again for the 100 subscribers. And, you know, I really thank you all for watching, and I hope you guys stick around for when there's more stuff to come, guys. So, see ya.